It was forbidden. It was perverse. An abomination. A criminal offence against nature itself. God, or the people who spoke for him, had prepared for them a special place in hell. For centuries, they had taken their pleasures furtively, in the shadows, hidden from sight, knowing the consequences of discovery were truly terrible. But then, sometime between the 50s and the present day, everything was transformed. It was all okay. God had changed his mind. Or had he?
It started with a kiss. It started with a kiss. Never thought it would come to this. It started with a kiss. Never thought it would come to this. It started with a kiss. Never thought it would come to this. It started with a
At midnight in Brighton and London, the ceremonies got underway, making these the first gay couples to legally marry in England and Wales.
A wedding cake, a kiss, and the end of a taboo that reached back 2,000 years. Once, marriages were made in heaven. Marriage was the holy estate Christ had beautified with his presence. Not to be undertaken lightly, or wantonly to satisfy men's carnal lusts, but reverently, discreetly, soberly, and in the fear of God. Right from the start, the Church had looked upon sex with suspicion and anxiety. And this was the answer. The only lawful way for men and women to have sex. God was always in the bedroom, making sure that good Christians were playing by the rules. But not everyone found it easy to play by the rules. To be inside a marriage was to be inside a union blessed in heaven. Outside, it was something different.
There may be some here today that will be homosexual in the future. There may be some girls that'll turn lesbian. We don't know. But it's serious. Don't kid yourselves about it. They can be anywhere. They can be judges, lawyers. We ought to know we've arrested all of them. If any one of you have let yourself become involved with an adult homosexual or with another boy, and you're doing this on a regular basis, you better stop quick. Because 1 out of 3 of you will turn queer. And if we catch you involved with a homosexual, then the rest of your life will be a living hell.
Have you found, in fact, that being a homosexual has made life difficult for you at all?
I would like to have a serious relationship with someone and share the pleasures of life and do things together. as I see other people doing, and I can't understand why I can't have that. I mean, I see other men doing it, and they live together for a long time, and they go to the theater together or to the opera together, and I don't.
It was the 1950s. They were still queers, and pufters, and pansies, and dykes, and trannies. But all that was about to change. (1948). The United Nations passes the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
I have a dream. I have a dream today.
Martin Luther King's call for civil rights was deeply rooted in scripture. But if it was wrong for blacks to be discriminated against, then why shouldn't human rights mean women's rights and gay rights? There were new marchers in the streets, whose demands for equality did not, as King's had done, echo the Bible.
We believe that sexism, racism, homophobia, and bigotry have no place in this country. This is what we will fight for. This is what we will march for. Are you ready to fight?
Today, everyone believes in universal human rights. But are they really universal? And in what way are they really even human? "250 times every minute, 15,000 times an hour, human life comes into the world. A boy, the nurses check to make sure he has all the usual attributes. But exactly where he hides his human nature is more difficult to find. And likewise, as they head into the future, much that will make them little girls and little boys is hidden in the distant past. Our lives began long before we were born. The past is present in everything we do. The beliefs and feelings that control us are so widely held to be true that we have forgotten how we came to believe them in the first place. That human beings have rights, that they are born equal, that they are owed sustenance and shelter and refuge from persecution. These were never self-evident truths. They were accidents of history. Things could very easily have turned out differently. This film is about how people who lived long ago recalibrated our idea of human nature. It started with a kiss and a gay wedding. But the story of that kiss and how it came about reaches back over 2,000 years. It is the journey we have forgotten we ever made. The key to the story of what made all of us the way we are now. Sinjar, northeast Iraq. Just a few weeks after it was seized back from the fighters of the Islamic State. Before ISIS came in 2013, Sinjar had a population of nearly 90,000. Now, it is empty of civilians and devoid of life. To come here is to experience what Germans call a Grenzsituation. A moment when you step outside the limits of experience and imagination. The fate of the inhabitants was grim. Men were crucified. Young women were sold as sex slaves. Older women were massacred and thrown into a mass grave. The prescriptions of church and mosque might as well have never been. Common decency had disappeared. The milk of human kindness had dried up. A reminder that for most of history, it was power that expressed the moral nature of our universe. In Rome, a Nero brought back to life would have no comprehension of human rights. He held sway over the terrifyingly alien world of Roman sexuality. Nero treated the Romans as the Romans treated their slaves. He took for granted his right to rape. He murdered his mother and raped her lover. He raped and murdered his stepbrother, kicked his pregnant wife to death, castrated and raped a boy who looked like her. In Roman times, the right of Harvey Weinstein to use inferiors as he pleased would have been taken for granted. Sex was a semaphore for power. And so it was throughout the ancient world. But Roman power had another, more horrifying signature. What is the link between a Paris bar, a gay wedding, and an ancient execution? And what does it tell us about how we in the West came to be what we are and to think the way we think?